Make sure your mic's on, Helen.
Yeah, I'm just checking what,
Okay. Okay, I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Committee of the Whole for the Town of Westville to order. I'm going to start by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and we are all treaty people as we work towards reconciliation. Also want to acknowledge the histories, legacies, and contributions of the African Nova Scotia people who have been here for over 400 years. And I just want to note quickly that south of the border, it's Martin Luther King Day, so it's an appropriate day to recognize that here as well. I think we have the same issues that they have stateside and have had for centuries, so I want to acknowledge that and the contributions of Martin Luther King to moving us forward. And welcome, Sarah. Appropriate time, because I'm just down to roll call. So I want to introduce our Councillor Helen Dunn, CAO Scott Weir, to my left, Councillor Danielle Fraser, and Deputy Mayor Sarah McKinnon. And I'm Mayor Lenny White. Councillor Mitchell McGregor is unfortunately out of town tonight and was unable to join us, either in person or remotely as well. And before we get into the meeting, I just want to acknowledge something else, and that is that a member of our community who is a long-time gallery attendee, and I referred to him jokingly as the leader of the loyal opposition, because he keeps us on track, as some of our regular residents do when they come to our meetings, and that's Morris Campbell. I just want to acknowledge that Morris is in hospital, unfortunately, and we want to send good, warm greetings and best wishes to Morris for a speedy recovery on behalf of Council.
I was talking to Morris today.
Thank you.
Yes. And he actually is feeling a bit better.
Excellent.
He was hollering at me. I was in the hallway, he was hollering at me.
If he's complaining, we know he's doing better, right?
Oh,
That's a good sign.
No, good.
All right, with that, we have 3 presentations this evening, folks, and they're all of great interest to us as a council, I know that, and to the community. And so the first one is the Ship Hector Society. And I'm not, is it Rebecca, are you going to do the presentation? Are you all going to take a turn? So Rebecca Whiffen, Vern Shea, and Wes Surratt are all here with us, correct?
Great.
Rebecca, you're on.
Are we good to present as we are here, or should we?
You're good there. We did put a mic there, so hopefully, you know, for the benefit of YouTube.
Says we still have a security word?
You had it for a second.
I had it for a second. It doesn't want to enable our content. Do you have a security wall here that? Unless you're our tech
Can you
guru.
do okay?
Funny, it's not showing up on your screen,
Stand by, folks. We're experiencing technical difficulties beyond our control.
Now it's working beautifully. Look at this, it's working beautifully on mine.
Oh, get it out. Well, maybe we should
Yeah,
put
just put it,
HDMI.
if you want to just stick it back in there, you can try that. I don't know what happened.
You mean the, you want to try the thumb back?
This is a,
Or do you want to
Well,
try
I think
HDMI?
I could probably do it just from here, maybe.
All right.
I don't know, all of a sudden it popped up on
I'm
me.
gonna be insulted if you
Remember the days when people used flip charts
yeah, and whiteboards.
and blackboards?
Here, the
never let you down.
Teacher just flip the paper. Thank
The
you.
old overhead projector.
Right, thank you.
I think mine will probably get.
Oh, that's gotta go on my bulletin board,
Scott, if yours doesn't.
my office. We gotta go for sushi.
Huh,
Maybe.
Y'all want
now I
Scott's
don't
computer?
understand why it's not
Christian?
working.
This is our IT every girl.
When all else fails,
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's something with
Oh, now it's the other one.
the setting for the.
So what's not showing is it doesn't have PowerPoint on, right?
It's in. No, I'm good, I got tea, thank you. Yep, you can make it up as you go.
Well, we can together since you're on.
Nobody out there can.
The pictures are much prettier than we are.
no comment.
Well,
Right?
Do you think it's just the board?
So we need to learn the, somehow to edit YouTube, so we can just edit this all out for the future.
Did you see this?
I think the ship Hector had an easier departure when they made their voyage.
I had it up there for a second.
You shouldn't have to.
Sarah, we don't need to deal with that tonight.
Okay. We're not dealing.
Oh, well, look at that, sail set for success. It could say, you know,
Yeah, 'cause I'd
technically
be
set
out.
for success.
They tell me I can't do my groups and
All right, so we're good to go?
Yeah.
All right, you gonna go, Wes?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll lead.
stuff.
All right.
So thank you very much for carving out some time for us tonight. Very much appreciated. My name is Wes Surratt. I'm the chair of the Ship Hector Society. And yeah, to give a little bit of background, I'm sure everybody's familiar with the history, but we can always answer more questions afterwards if you'd like. But the society took over the operations of the site in 2010 from the town and have worked very hard as a volunteer board to keep that site open and operating in that time. In 2019, we started the project of restoring the ship and renovating the site as well. And of course, we didn't do it the traditional way where you raise all your money first and then start the project, or we'd probably be still raising money and not started anything. We started the project and we're working as we go to raise the funds for it. One thing I really want to make clear about this project, and which is often misunderstood, is, and you've probably seen some announcement about some major funding being awarded. Both the provincial and the federal government has, and we'll go over the exact numbers in a bit, have given money to the project, but they are dedicated for the interpretive center. We are not to use one dime of any of that public money on the ship itself. So, which makes meetings like this and others so important to us. Everything that we've done on the ship has been raised privately for that ship, and we'll bring you up to date on the numbers as we go along. Myself, I get involved in the restoration project because I realized as a tourism operator, I managed the Pictou Lodge for years and years and years before it got blown over, that, you know, we were always, you know, complaining to Tourism Nova Scotia that we weren't getting enough love here in Pictou County, that they were showing all these other great sites, and they said, well, you really don't have an icon. And it's so important as a tourism destination to have that icon to build on. So I really looked as an operator, and I've chaired the Provincial Tourism Industry Association as well. So I hear it all over the province that this site is an anchor attraction for the whole Northumberland shore, not just the town of Pictou, not just Pictou County, but really the whole of the Northumberland shore. So it is a critical piece for us. And when we looked at the project, we were intent on, if we were going to do this, we were going to do it right. And Vern will explain, our ship restoration manager, Vern, will explain to you how we're doing the ship and why he promised me that it will outlast me. I'll be long gone and this ship will still be in place. And so, and we wanted to create an attraction that is very unique. So not just a sitting museum, a static museum site, we wanted to create an attraction that is unique not only to Pictou County, not only to the province, but all of Atlantic Canada. A touring tall ship, which is you know, going to be a great attraction. And we were really, in our goals, we really needed to make it a sustainable attraction too. So not only the ship lasting forever, but it being able to fund itself, take care of itself. So we're not back here in 10 years again looking to raise another $4 million. That we set a business plan in place so it will take care of itself and generate its own revenue. And if we want to flip ahead a couple, we can see, I should say too, I mean, tourism, a lot of people think of tourism and they think, oh, the tourists are coming and they're going to jam up our streets and all those, you know. But I mean, tourism is so important to our local economy. The tourists leave money in our spaces in Pictou County, and then they go back to their homes, and we don't have their cost of education or health care. And a lot of folks, that when they move to the county, you ask, why did you move here? Well, they visited here as a tourist before, and they were so impressed with the beautiful sights that they've seen here that they've decided to move here as a resident. So it's important when we're attracting doctors and everything else to have great tourism. So our site, the first slide was 65, I think it was 65% of our revenue is going to come from the ship itself. That ship will be touring around the harbor propelled by electric motors, so it'll be just as quiet as anything else. You'll feel like you're on the original ship itself. Vern has done a magnificent job, and with all the modern conveniences that we're including in this ship, we're covering it up and hiding it, except for, as you say, the lifeboats. That'll be one thing that looks modern, but everything else will look as authentic as the original ship itself. We're hiding all the batteries and all the really cool, innovative stuff. So the ship touring itself and the weddings on the ship and that attraction will take care of 65% of will make up 65% of our revenue. Of course, Vern himself and his Song and Dance Act will make up for 15%, the shipbuilding, we are also including a boat building school. As you know, wooden boat building is becoming a lost art. We have one of the best artists in all of Canada, would you say, Vern, or just Atlantic Canada? International. We've got one of the best international wooden boat builders in our presence here tonight, so it's a lost art. So we do have plans for a boat building school to be happening on the site, which will make up for 15% of our revenue, also engaging lots of youth and visitors with actual hands-on activities. And then the interpretive center itself, as I said, it's well funded. The work is going on in that building right now. When we open up in the spring, it'll be completely refreshed inside with many new components, a nice new focus on the contribution that the Indigenous folks of Pictou had played. There was a small presence there before, but it's recognized in a much better way now. And up on the top floor, I always have to talk about it, there's this really cool 360 show that's projected on sails around you as you go in, so it really feels like you're sailing into the harbor for the first time, and it does a really good job of telling that Celtic story and then weaving in the Indigenous story of creation. It's going to really be quite something. So not just that static, read the things on the wall anymore. It's a hands-on, interactive approach. As I said, everything we've done to the ship has been raised privately. Some of our larger donors are marked there. We've raised $1.8 million to date, and like it all on private and through a pandemic. So we're pretty proud of the work we've done there. What's my next? Am I still going, Rebecca? Okay, go for it. So our goal. So this is our campaign broken down, as you can clearly see in that very large font there, all the specific details. But we've got another 1.5 to raise to get it all in. As it is right now, we are going to launch it. We're going to do a side launch again this upcoming July 12th. We're side launching it back into the water again, just like the original, so it'll be quite an attraction. Hope to see you all there. We'll reserve some good parking spots for you. It'll go back in the water. We need to keep it at its current weight in order for it to go back in properly, and so it doesn't do one of these, because nobody wants that. And then we've got some work to do once it gets back in the water, getting the ballast in, getting all the masts and the sails and everything else on it once we get it back in the water. And of course, putting those nice new electric motors in it there as well. It's your turn. Would you like to see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the ship progress to date, when we took it out of the water in 2020, we didn't really know what the underwater portion was going to be like. We had a good idea what the rest of the vessel was, rotten. But once we got it out of the water, we could see that the bottom of the vessel, from that white line down where the red is, wasn't in too bad shape at all. We got to do a little bit of work to it, but the salt water preserved it very, very well. So from meetings beforehand, I had gotten some of my colleagues at industry together to try to figure out and present to the board which would be the best way to proceed so that we didn't get into the problems that we had initially. When we first built the ship, it was a great idea to do it traditionally, but at that time, we kind of thought that the maintenance would have been looked after, but it wasn't, and that what led to a lot of difficulties in the ship itself. It was just a lot of maintenance that the town couldn't afford, and the new society, when they took over, found out the same thing. It's a static display. It just doesn't cut it. So anyway, I got together with my colleagues, and we figured out that the best thing to do all the way around and save maintenance costs was to fiberglass the hull. So we replaced all the rotten wood right up to that white line you see. We replaced it all below the water line. We tore all the oakum and cotton out, and we splined between all the seams and butts. Then we put 2 layers of fiberglass over the whole shooting match with 4 around the keel. And then we put wooden, they're called whales, they're like big bands that go around the ship of oak. And that's more for aesthetics, so that it, it looks like the original ship. All from that white line up is all composite material, a very dense foam. It's waterproof, it won't rot, and that's all been covered in fiberglass. Excuse me, and then the lighter portion is wood sheathing that we put on again to give it the look that it should. So that's all sacrificial. All the wood on the ship, if it gets rotten, it can go at very little cost. It doesn't hurt the integrity of the ship at all. So when we got into it, we replaced all the stanchions on the top timbers, a bunch of frames had to replace, portions of the deck, the inside hull planking. So there was a lot of work that had to be done before we could even start the reconstruction. But we're at a point right now where about 3 weeks come spring, we'll have it totally ready to go back in the water on, like Wes said, July 12th, 11 o'clock Saturday morning. Want to be there early, there's a breakfast and all kinds of stuff. It'll keep you occupied. Our shafts are in the vessel. So that's where we're at now. You can see in that photograph that the wharf is in not the greatest shape, because we tore that off. We made the decision we were going to put it back in with the crane, like we took it out with the crane, but just logistics of getting that done, there's only 2 cranes that can do it, and we're on their time frame, they're not on ours, and to take a crane off a job site, you're paying premium money, so we decided, what the hey, it worked once, we'll see if we can do it again. So we deconstruct the whole wharf. The old launchways were there from 2000, so we're building on top of them again. And then once the ship is in the water, we'll put a new wharf in a little higher because sometimes that's underwater. There's a lot going to go into the vessel. Like I said, the installation of the electric motors. We have steering gear components that have to go in the ship. The new upper decks are all on, but we have to sheathe that in wood. That'll be a project for the spring. Some outfitting components will go on the vessel, and the masts and rigging, we'll start that probably a little bit of it in the fall, but it'll be heavy the next year or through the winter. It seems to be in pretty good shape. I haven't looked at the rigging in a while, but when it came down, it wasn't too bad. So yeah, that's about where we're at right now, but there is a lot that has to go into the vessel. But again, there's all the electronics, there's hot water, there's fresh water that has to be done, there's salt water, there's cooling water. So there's a lot of systems, but the way that we put the extra decks on the vessel and ventilation, we can hide all that in these various components so that nobody even sees this on that ship. There'll be a washroom facility for the passengers. There'll be a captain's cabin, crew accommodations if it ever wants to go to Summerside or short journeys like that, or even Halifax if it wants. A display area, that's all been done down below decks the way it was in 1773. There's 2 compartments there. It's all totally compliant with Transport Canada. So we're certified, or we will be certified to carry up to 60 passengers, which is a bus tour and various other events that that will complement the ship financing itself, plus the site. In addition to that, and in conjunction with the interpretive center, like West said, we're building a boat building school that will house the crew of the ship and any trainees that come and any people that want to take the 2 or 3 week course in the boat building school. They'll be all self-sufficient in a dormitory type setting on the 2nd floor, and they'll have a galley mess area where they can cook their meals, do their laundry, and feed themselves and look after themselves. So it's a very extensive project with a lot of moving pieces, but it's starting to come together. It's a lot better feeling right now than it was in 2020. I can tell you that when we first looked at it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as Wes mentioned, we are building a destination, and we've done some research into our business plan with our own visitation numbers, with numbers given to us from Tourism Nova Scotia as to what visitors spend when they come and all those good things. We're estimating 3,300 additional visitors to Pictou County in the first year the ship provides boat tours. And this number is going to increase probably by 10% for at least 5 years. And our anticipated bus tour operator business will double within the next 5 years. And we are working currently with the province. They have a great export program where they take certain attractions under their wing and they help them build those kinds of relationships and build their bus tour numbers and whatnot. Tourism visitation. Currently, there's 93,000 visitors to Pictou County annually, and 25% of all visits to the Northumberland shore, that stretches from Amherst to Antigonish, come to Pictou at some point during their visit. Pictou County accounts for nearly half of all tourism. Pictou accounts for nearly half of all tourism in Pictou County. So all the tourists that come to Pictou County, at least half of them make a stop in Pictou. These are visitation numbers from this year, and the U.S. Accounts for 25% of our tourism at the Hector Heritage Keep. Europe is 21%. Large part of that's the British Isles and Germany. Canada, the 51%. A lot of that is Upper and Western Canada. So we're already starting to draw in those numbers. We just need to draw larger numbers and get the word out there that this great thing is in Pictou County and that we're here. Currently, we have the second highest occupancy. Yeah, you were right. In the province. But there's only 100 rooms a night in Pictou. So they have to go elsewhere if they're going to stay overnight. And Tourism Nova Scotia tells us that as soon as we build in 6 to 8 hours of activity, you've got that overnight stay, which makes you a destination, which is what we've always been missing in Pictou County. I used to run a brewery, Uncle Leo's, and we had a beer garden on the waterfront in Pictou in 2018. I used to do informal surveys of where people were coming from, where they were going, and how long they were staying in Pictou. And I always say we're the best one-night stand on the way to Cape Breton or PEI. So we need to make this the destination, is Pictou County. They're going to come, they're going to do this, they're going to do the Museum of Industry, the Miners Museum. They're going to stop at exit 21. They're going to, you know.
We may need another hotel at exit 21.
I think we do. I think
Just
that's-
saying that.
I think we can make the argument here with you that we could do that. Because we do only have 100 rooms a night, and that overflow is going to have to go to, it will come to the, what we call the upper towns in Pictou. I don't know if you know that.
We're the upper
We're going
towns.
over town, we're going.
Upper town.
Anyway, this will create jobs through sale training, through jobs at the site, educational programs. It's going to position us as a landmark destination. It's going to increase visitation. It's going to increase the average length of stay, which affects the amount of money that they pour into the county. And the economic impact in the first full year of operation is expected to be over $800,000 to the county, and within 5 years it's expected to be over 1.2. So it's not insignificant. So municipal support. As Wes mentioned, the province and the feds haven't touched the boat yet. We hope that will change, but we're trying to garner support for that change and to show what we've shown here, that we are a viable tourist attraction and anchor for this shore in this part of the province, and we're going to have great economic impact on the rest of Pictou County. The town of Pictou and the municipality of Pictou County have been big supporters of ours, and most recently they've come to the table with $10,000 each to show their support for this project. And it's our hope that the towns of Trent, Westville, Stellarton, and New Glasgow will support the Ship Hector Society by matching those gifts. And then we could go to the province and say, we have the support of all the municipalities in Pictou that would have a lot of impact on the province, more impact than just going to them with our plan. However, that being said, any support is welcome. If the support is more important than the amount of the contribution. So while the ask is definitely 10,000, we would gratefully accept anything in support that we could take forward and say that all of the municipalities are supporting this. That's supposed to be a YouTube channel. It doesn't show up, but we have a great YouTube channel, and we have a series called Rebuilding the Hector, and it chronicles the building of the Hector as well. So it's out there in the public realm, and it's documenting Vern's great work. But thank you very much for your time tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Rebecca and Wes and Vern. Any questions from council members currently?
I don't think so.
Silence means that it was a good presentation, I would guess, because every question's been answered, obviously. You can take that down now, Scott. I think. You want to take that down? We will, just so you know, our plan would be that we'll put this on our agenda for our next council meeting, which happens to be a week from tonight. So we will discuss it as a council with regard to your requests for funding. We understand what you said, and we appreciate the way you coaxed your request from the dollar amount to other things. So we'll certainly have a look at that. And I think that we all recognize, I think it's safe to say, that the value of having the ship Hector restored and actually floating and sailing, which will be a tremendous thing in my estimation for tourism in our local area, and we all serve to benefit from it, as you have pointed out, I believe. I don't think there's anything to question in that. And Pictou County being Pictou County, lots of people have connections to the ship Hector, obviously, right? Obviously, there weren't too many whites on the ship Hector or LeBlancs, but I do have a family tree that goes to Grahams and Frasers, and I know there were a few of them on the ship. So, and we all probably could go back and have a connection. Danielle's nodding her head, yes, as a Fraser.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to say we do have some big things also that we have planned for Westville. So it would be great to coordinate. Yeah.
This is part of what we're doing is we're reaching out and making new partnerships and existing partnerships stronger and really leveraging that so the county benefits the whole from all of these things. And we love partnerships.
Anytime anybody wants to come down as a whole council or parts thereof, let me know, and I'll gladly give you a tour through what we're doing right now, maybe when the weather gets a little better. And you can have a look and see what the progress is on the ship and what's happening within the interpretive center and our plans.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
I think our CAO, I'm almost guessing that our CAO will take you up on that, Vern. He happens to be a sailor himself, and he's quite a handyman as well. So you might give him a tool or two while he's there, and he can assist you. So
He may want to come and become a sail trainee or captain. There we go.
Do the boat school?
Just open up the wallet, he can do that.
There you go. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you,
And
guys.
I jokingly said that you had to stay for the other presentations, but you are free to move about the cabin if you so choose. So next, we're going to move right along then to our next presentation, folks, and that's from Food for Focus. I think we had a presentation from Food for Focus at a previous meeting, and so I think we're pretty well aware of what Food for Focus stands for and what they've done so far in the community. And we're getting set up again technologically here, apparently, so we'll do that.
Oh, just wait, I have to.
So we have Reverend Mary Taylor, who has a possible project in mind to raise some monies for Food for Focus. So I'm going to call upon and introduce Captain Reverend Mary Taylor. She got more titles than I know from when we did our cenotaph rededication that Mary was much involved in that committee, and I appreciate that contribution. And I do recall trying to determine how I introduced her at the ceremony, and I said, "Can I just introduce you as Reverend Mary Taylor, maybe?" Anyway, Mary, it's all yours.
Thank you very much.
much. And good evening, everyone.
Look at that.
Wonderful. And then if you put the little
And then if
clicker
I
in, I can
do
click
this,
away.
you can drive.
Wonderful. Thank you. So good evening, everyone.
All right, there you go.
Should be able, perfect. I've got control.
Wow.
So for those of you who may not know, I'm Mary Taylor. I'm the minister at St. Paul United, and that is the big brick church on Church Street. There's lots of churches on Church Street. Ours is the big brick one. And you, as you have probably heard about our program, Food for Focus, I know Janice and Pamela have done shared details about this program with you, but I'd like to briefly review its purpose with you and its impact. So just do a little review. Our program, Food for Focus, is a collaborative effort to feed hungry children in Westville and food insecure families. We partner ourselves, St. Paul United Church, with Schools Plus, Walter Duggan Elementary, and Walter Duggan Elementary School. Yeah. And we provide weekend food assistance to 14 families. Our families are chosen by the Schools Plus team and Walter Duggan Elementary School. We do not choose the families, they're chosen for us, and nor do we know who the families are. But they're chosen by Walter Duggan Elementary School. Schools Plus manages the all family contact and delivers the food directly to their homes on Friday mornings. New families are added as needed when others leave the program or the area. The St. Paul team members handle the shopping and do the food packing on Thursday and Friday mornings. And they provide weekly support to each family. And so each family receives, depending on the family size, a loaf of bread, 2 to 4 liters of milk, a dozen eggs, a meat item, some fresh vegetables and fruit, pasta or rice, a breakfast item, and a snack item each week. And they also receive additional items as our budget allows of flour, vegetable oil, peanut butter, etc. We also make sure we focus on special dietary needs such as lactose, gluten sensitivities, and nut. Like our current statistics are, we have 14 families with 49 children, and our weekly spending averages about $7.50 per person each week. Our funding sources come from generous donations from citizens, service groups, and businesses. We've also received some grants over the last year and a half. 100% of all of our donations go to purchase food. We do not use any of those funds for anything else. We don't have any overhead costs, we don't have any staffing costs. None of those funds go to our congregation. Our congregation is self-sufficient. 100% of the money goes to buy food. Our future goals for Food for Focus is to have a permanent initiative with long-term stability. That would be our number one goal right now. And one of the things I'd like to point out is the independence. Again, the Food for Focus program operates independently of our congregation. None of the families benefiting from this program are affiliated with our congregation in any way. As far as we know, like I said, we don't know who the families are, but, and the program's sole focus is meeting the needs of these families identified by the school. And so funds flow to Food for Focus from our outreach program as needed and as we are able, and from other sources, but no funds flow to the church. So I was thinking about Food for Focus, and I had an idea. And so I was at a presentation that was happening to the Council of Churches in early December, and it was coming from the Pictou County Fuel Fund. And they were talking about how they are fundraising for next year. They are 1 year ahead in their fundraising. And what that allows for them is it allows this financial stability. Their approach allows them to support their beneficiaries with confidence. They know that the people that they commit to helping this year, they can help because they know how much they have set aside. And that's what I want for Food for Focus. And so currently, our leadership team does a phenomenal job securing grants and local contributions and supports, and they've presented to you. But I want them to have the security of knowing that they can operate for an entire year. The stability would provide reassurance for the families that they value and they support. And so then I was out walking. I walk a lot. I walk all the time. And I was out on a fairly long walk one day on my Christmas break while I was in Cape Breton, and I was like, I wonder how far I could walk. I know I walk about 50 kilometers a week. So like, how far could I walk? Well, I know I could walk 50 kilometers, but what could I walk beyond that? And so I started doing some math in my head, and I thought, you know, I could probably walk 100 kilometers in a day. And
Excuse me, in a day?
in a day.
Okay.
Yeah. I've
I
done
can't
the
even walk
math.
home. I live
I can do it. You should know that I have been athletic most of my life. I was on the Canada Games rowing team for Nova Scotia. I represented us in Saskatchewan in 1999. And I also have been an endurance athlete in all of the sports. So when I was on the swim team, I swam the furthest. When I was on the track team, I ran the furthest. I've run several half marathons. Physical activity is not a problem for me. So this year marks the 100th anniversary of the United Church of Canada. We are 100 years in 2025, and I am not only a minister for the United Church of Canada, I'm also the incoming president for this region. And so it would be a meaningful way for us to connect with the larger church, this number 100. That's kind of where I got the 100 from. So anyway, this is what I decided to do. I thought, you know what would be cool? I'm going to walk 100 kilometers. And I'm going to call it the Westville 100. And I'm going to walk on June 25th, the longest day of the year. June 21st, 2025, the longest day of the year. I'm going to walk from 4 a.m. to midnight and 4 25-kilometer loops. And so everybody wants to know where I'm going to walk. This is where I'm going to walk. The route takes me in and around and through Westville. I loop in through the town multiple times, making it accessible for participants or spectators. I'll give you the lowdown though. If you want the directions, I'm going to start in the St. Paul parking lot and head out up Church Street to Macquarie Avenue. I'm going to go down South Main to Purvis, so not a very long jaunt on South Main there, then across Purvis and over to Park and then to Foxbrook Road. Picture where I'm going now?
Yep.
Yep.
And then I'm
Past
gonna
my
go-
house, I'll wave.
Oh, excellent. Can I use your washroom?
Yep.
Okay. I ask everybody on the route. I'm going to walk all the way down Foxbrook Road to the Grey Road, and then I'm going to walk all the way down the Grey Road to the Middle River Road, and then merge onto the Garlock Road. Then I'm going to turn left onto the Hamilton Road and follow it all the way to the Pump Road. The Pump Road, I'm going to start heading up, turning left on Union Street, all the way up Union Street to Main Street. And then I'm going to follow Main Street right through the town, to Cowan Street. And then I'm going to go up Cowan, then across on Office, down Spring Garden, and then back up North Main to pass by my house. And then go down Acadia Avenue, all the way to Temperance. At Temperance, I'm going to follow that to Drummond. I'm going to come up here by the town hall. And then I'm going to go to the church parking lot. And I'm going to do that 4 times. I've already done it. It's a great walk. And when I got home, I was like, I could do that again and again and again and again. So I enjoy walking.
I'm
And I think
impressed.
this is wild enough that it might draw some attention. So I see a lot of opportunity with this Westville 100. I see the participation of community members. Walkers can join me for any portion of the route. I have people that want to walk 25 kilometers with me. I have people that want to walk half a kilometer with me. I have little sections of the route because it does twist and turn. I've got a 25-kilometer section, I've got a 19-kilometer section, I've got a 10-kilometer section, a 4, a 2, or even a 0.5. 0.5 takes us from here at the town hall to the church parking lot. It would be a fun way to end the day with everybody alongside. I've already heard from several people who are excited to join me and have started training. As Mayor White had pointed out, I was a captain with the military and have strong ties to the reserve forces around here, and I'm going to see if the military reserves or the cadets would like to ruck part of this with me,
Nice.
because we have done 25-kilometer rucks. So I thought the 4 a.m. one would be super military, and we could have a good time. I'd like to involve, for sure, Walter Duggan School and other schools as we can. The week before, my plan for Walter Duggan is, and any other schools that would like to know more about this, is the week before to go to the school and offer a presentation in the auditorium, tell them about Food for Focus, tell them about the Westville 100 and what's happening, invite them to come and cheer me on Saturday, and then go out to the track or to the grounds and walk a kilometer with them. And however many students we have, if we have 100 students walk a kilometer, then we've walked 100 kilometers together. So, and that might help to encourage walking and physical fitness as well. I'm looking at getting corporate and community sponsorships. I'm reaching out to local businesses for support, and also our corporate sponsors that are in our areas. Sponsorships could include financial contributions or in-kind donations such as supplies or promotional assistance. I see many benefits to the event. Like I said, promoting fitness, it has already encouraged so much physical activity. Most people that I talk to them a few days later and they say they've been walking and they're gonna walk part of this route with me. I think it helps build town pride. I want to call it the Westville 100 because it is so very ingrained in Westville, and the benefits are for Westville. I think it highlights the town's commitment to supporting our citizens. I want it to be an inspiration for the communities. We already have had other communities reach out to us who want to start Food for Focus initiatives with their schools. And so I see this as a way to inspire and inform people about what we're doing here in Westville. And media and publicity, generating positive attention for Westville through local, provincial, and possibly national media coverage, because like our church administrator said, I've fallen off my rocker and people in the national news might find that interesting.
Right.
Our goal. So like I said, we do provide weekend support for 14 families, which have 49 children, and that works out to $500 a week. And so to get ourselves a year ahead, we would like to have $26,000. $26,000 aside, and that's what my goal, my fundraising goal for this event is to get us a year ahead. Anything more than that, maybe we can expand the program, because there are always families who would see great benefit in being part of our program. What I'm asking the town for? Well, I would really love a formal endorsement from the town council to show support for the event. That would be important to me. Logistical support. I would like assistance with permits, road use, and safety coordination, because I don't know what I need for something like this. Because I am asking the public to walk along with me. I already have 2 vehicles that are committed to travel with me through the whole day, so I would have a lead vehicle and a follow vehicle. But anything else we can get, that would be awesome. Promotion, helping spread the word through the town communication channels, phenomenal. That would be fantastic, because this is very new, so I don't have ways for people to donate specifically right yet, but when I do get pages and donation channels, I would love the help of the town in promoting that. And also, any funding or resources, I would love it if the town would consider a sponsorship of this event to be part of the materials that we provide, or to provide resources such as access to to provide resources such as access to municipal facilities or event supplies. And so, yeah, that is a very rough drawing of a logo that I kind of came to mind, but I don't know how to draw logos, and I'm trying to find somebody who does know that could be improved on significantly. In closing, I believe that the Westville 100 has the potential to make a significant impact on our community, not only by supporting food insecure families, but also fostering town pride and inspiring broader participation. thank you for considering my initiative, and I look forward to working with you to make it a success. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you very much, Reverend Taylor. I think we're probably all quite impressed with the fact that you're considering to do this, but based on what you said about your walking experience, I guess now I understand. I got to tell you that when you first approached me and mentioned what it was, and you said 100 kilometers, I was thinking that you were going to have a team,
Right.
each doing 5 or 10 or whatever.
That makes perfect sense.
And I thought it was a typo when you said,
I should-
I'm going to walk. I thought it was a typo when you said, I'm going to walk 100 kilometers, So kudos to you before you even do it. We're still up there on the, sorry. Yeah, so questions, comments, council?
Not a question, just a comment. I think this is fantastic. I'm very grateful that you had this vision to do this on your walk in Cape Breton over the holidays, and I'm just very excited to support it in any way I can and participate in it as well. So,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah,
See?
yeah,
We can
that's
walk
excellent.
together.
We can
Should
walk
be so
together.
fun.
No question from me, either comment. My heart lies with food insecurity and the work I do in the community, so I'm behind it. I will do what I can to help. I can't walk with you. I live right there. I can barely make it home from here, but,
I need signs on the side of the road cheering me on,
Right.
I was out for a walk, this is just an aside, I was out for a walk the other day, and I was just walking up Drummond, and Tommy Steele drove by, and he just waved at me. He didn't know what I was walking for, he didn't know anything, and I was just like, woo! So really, if you just wave at me as I'm walking, it really inspires me to keep going. So-
Well, and another comment, actually, I saw that your route passes by the Legion, and I think we could maybe tag on that
Oh, yes,
side as well.
absolutely,
Yeah, some
absolutely.
kind of event
Tried
or
to cover
something.
as much of
Yeah.
the town as I could.
Yeah. Very impressed. Very good idea.
Excellent.
Thank you. Anything else? And I would suggest that I know our CAO will be able to handle some of the questions that you may have with regard to, permitting or
Yeah.
whatever legal
Logistics.
sort of things that we need to look at for your venture through town and so on. I'm sure that Scott can handle that for you. So, he's pretty approachable, so just, if you haven't already spoken, stop by and see Scott and work out those details. I'm thinking, our traffic authority probably has to be involved. Chief of Police is our traffic authority for the town.
And I
Just-
think Councillor Dunn and I could take it to Recreation Committee too, right? We
Right.
could take, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of tie-ins. I'm thinking, and I don't want to volunteer these guys because they do so much already in our community, but the fire department, obviously, I think this is something that they could get involved in.
Yeah, I just
Councillor Dunn
think
may-
everyone would be
Councillor
super
Dunn may be
excited
able to put in
about
a word or
this.
two
Yeah.
for you on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots of things I think that we can do, and I appreciate the fact that, you're calling it Westville 100, and we want to.
Food for Focus is Westville.
Right.
It is
Yeah.
a Westville
Right.
program for Westville people, and I am, as you can hear, very passionate about it. I
Yes.
think it is a wonderful gift to our community. I'm so thankful for the people who
Yes.
began it and organized it, and it's inspired me to walk this far.
And we acknowledge that we have food insecurity in our town to a large degree, and we
We're not alone.
no, we're not
No,
alone.
not
No.
alone.
We're not
It's-
alone, but we
it's-
certainly have it,
Yeah.
and we want to, it's not something that we want to turn away from and say it doesn't exist. It does exist, and the Food for Focus was a great organization that started. Danielle's venture into the pantry.
Yeah, we
once
connected,
again,
yeah. Yeah.
tremendous asset for the town, and I see the evidence, as I'm sure Scott does, and Christian, from being around the town hall on a fairly regular basis, the activity that the pantry gets, both from donations and from those that are utilizing it. It's a fantastic thing to see, and so anything that we can do around food security, I'm sure that this council will get behind, and we'll do whatever we possibly can. So I take this to be the beginning of a discussion that will continue, through to June 21st, I would
Absolutely.
think. And
Yes.
we'll do what we can to be assistance.
what we can.
Fantastic idea.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's great.
I think it's pretty appropriate that our next group that's going to be presenting, by the way, is our
Health?
Healthy Communities Pictou County team from Public Health. So it's a great segue, I guess, into the presentation that's about to take place from Healthy Pictou County, Communities Pictou County. And I'm going to, we'll get set up again, I guess, from a technological point of view. You're good, Stefan? Okay. So, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. I met Stefan before the meeting, but I haven't had an opportunity to meet the other presenters. So, if you don't mind, you can just introduce yourself and jump into your presentation.
So thank you for having us tonight. I'm Stefan Fire. I'm joined by Lisa Clark, our nutritionist, and we have Cordia San, a health promoter. I'm also a health promoter. So really the goal of public health is to work with others to understand the health of our communities and then work together to improve it. In the Northern Zone, we have 4 public health offices. This includes Truro, Elmsdale, Amherst, and New Glasgow. As well, our support ranges from Colchester County, East Hants, Pictou County, and Cumberland counties. So today the focus will be on our health communities team, but specifically the roles of our health promoters and nutritionists. If you don't mind, just go to the next slide. So our work is guided and outlined by public health standards and protocols, and while our team has grown substantially over the last couple of years, our core areas remain the same. This includes health protection, which focuses on the prevention and control of communicable diseases and immunizations. Early years, which looks at prenatal, postnatal, and childhood health. And then lastly, healthy communities, which we'll be discussing in more detail tonight. So on the next slide, please. So here we have upstream approach, which is a key analogy for how we like to think about health. So you'll see in the image in the back, there's a river. Let's say that you have a bystander by the river. They see someone being pulled into the current, so they go and help the person out. Not long after, they see another person being pulled out, another. Soon a group gathers to help pull people out of the water, but eventually somebody tired decides to go upstream and see why people are being pulled into the water. This kind of is how we like to think about health. While we need to direct energy at the immediate needs, we also need to focus at the other end, which is upstream. Along with that, there are the social determinants of health. These are the conditions in which people are born, grow, live, worship, play, just everything about a person, and they all influence their health. They're outside of the person's control, and they rely heavily on group or population level efforts to affect them. So examples of this could be income inequality, poverty, unsafe living conditions, systematic discrimination, and racism. All the approaches are imperative for a healthy society. And as health promoters and nutritionists, we like to aim towards mid to upstream approaches. So if you look at another example, very relevant after the last presentation of food insecurity. People are struggling to keep their heads above water and put food on the table. So food banks are in place to help people in Pictou County, and other organizations will join in to help as well with food hampers, for example. While this is an immediate need, people need to have healthy food. We also need to look at why the larger end of this, which is food insecurity, which is income security, which is what directly affects food insecurity. So through that, we like to concentrate our efforts on supporting income policies that provide equitable incomes so everyone's able to take care of themselves and their families. So we have a healthy communities team which focuses on the development of partnerships to foster healthy public policies and address the social determinants of health. These are some of the roles we have in our organization. There's quite a wide spectrum of it, but we will be focusing on health promoters and nutritionists. So in Pictou County, we do have the 2 health promoters and 1 nutritionist. Sorry, the next slide. So we hear a lot about policy, and a very broad term which holds different meanings depending on the organization, the person, the team. So more recently, public health has looked to affect what's happening upstream with the approach to lean into policy. It is not that policy has been absent, but it's an area that needs more concerted effort. So our work aims to improve healthy public policy, focusing on the health and equity in all aspects of the policy. So how do we take an upstream approach in our work? This can include advocacy, either verbal or written, using our health promotion expertise. This can involve working with partners to seek changes in areas that affect communities' health, for example, housing, food security, active communities, or alcohol and substance use. With relationship building, our partners may include community organizations, not-for-profits, municipalities, or First Nations communities. As well, we do tend to work with other organizations or other departments within Nova Scotia Health, for example, the mental health and addictions and the community health boards. As well, we do at times sit on committees or work with partners to bring voices together to to understand what is best for the community and how we can affect that through policies. And often our work does include asking why is this happening, what is the misinformation, and then how do we address it. And then through knowledge translation, we share best practice evidence and data that supports the monitoring of factors that impact population health. This can be translating health information in a relatable way or that resonates with the target audience. As well, with health equity, it's a foundational piece of our work. As we know, some populations experience a greater burden of inequity because of existing or new policies. So for example, one way that we could work together and collaborate would be supporting even the development of a equity and anti-racism policy, or plan. And lastly, so we like to work together with partners to understand the issues of up-to-date data, data that includes community voices and seek changes or actions together. Together, we can collaborate to support policies and initiatives that are powerful influencers of community health and well-being. So part of our role is that we do provide technical data and knowledge. Sometimes this can include tools such as our community health planning tools, which were recently updated. There are 5 of them. They're all specific to the Northern Zone. We have provided you a copy of all 5, but we'd be happy to follow up with electronic copies as well. Today we will take a brief look at one of the tools, which is Income and Health. The focus is more on how the tools are created with snippets of the actual tool. But for the purposes of today, we won't be focusing too much on the actual data, but encourage future conversations where we could dig into it a bit more.
So like Stefan mentioned, there's 5 tools on 5 different topics, but today we'll just use the income tool as an example. So basically each of the 5 tools, they have a very similar format. So they have key messages, data, evidence, and considerations for communities. So basically the purpose of these tools is to share evidence and key messages and try to move the understanding from an individual to a collective approach to health. It gives attention to the systemic and structural root causes of health inequities and supports evidence-based upstream actions. So you'll see here, we won't go over all the key messages, but right on top you'll see that income is one of the most important determinants of healthy people and healthy communities, and often it impacts our experiences with other social determinants of health. So things like food insecurity, housing, childcare, education, all impacted by income. So then the next portion of the tool is the indicator, and so this example is prevalence of low income. So each indicator is chosen with very specific criteria. So the criteria is that it has to be precise, measurable, validated, and it has to represent the population. So you'll just see here that for Pictou County, the prevalence of low income is 16.4% of the population of Pictou County. You'll see Nova Scotia is 14.9% of the population, Canada 11.1%. You'll move to the right there and you can see that it talks about how the prevalence of low income can vary by your household size and your composition. And just to note that about 36.4% of one-person households with no children in Nova Scotia are experiencing low income. So then this is the areas for consideration portion of the tool, and this is really the evidence-informed solutions and how we can work with communities and partners to understand the local context, local needs, and the local solutions. So addressing income, for example, would be an upstream approach to an issue such as food insecurity, and I think Stefan already highlighted that really well. But you can see here that there's a number of ways that we can combine together to try to think of solutions for income. So whether that's a basic income guarantee, or it could be improving the accessibility and the advocacy of the income supports that's already in place. Or maybe it could be addressing wages, or offering people more paid benefits. So various ways that you can go about addressing income. So then just some examples. So moving away from the tools, we just want wanted to provide some examples of how we've worked with municipalities in the past and presently. So again, not an exhaustive list, but just some examples. So our nutritionists have worked alongside municipal staff for development of healthy eating policies in recreation settings. We've also been involved in some community engagement discussions around food systems, local food systems. We also provide up-to-date evidence, as you saw, and one of those areas of evidence is on community water fluoridation. So we provided an FAQ document in that folder. So if you have any more questions or if you're wondering anything about community water fluoridation, that FAQ would be a good document. In Cumberland, our health promoters supported a service-based homelessness account. So she provided a lot of time into the report writing for that. Our health promoters here in Pictou County, so Stefan and Corday, supported the municipality of Pictou County and the town of Pictou with their physical activity plan and their municipal planning strategy. And so we're also available to support with the development of like strategic plans as well. And here in Westville, we have also made a connection with Scott to just review a draft of the municipal alcohol policy. So just an example more locally as well. So thank you very much for your time, for listening to us tonight. And there's our contact information. So if you wonder if a certain project does apply to us or not, please don't hesitate just to reach out and ask.
Thank you. Thank you very much, folks, for the presentation. I think that there's so many areas that you could be of assistance to us as a town. I was just, as you were presenting, I'm thinking of some of the discussions we're having in some of the committees we have currently around a lot of the issues that you're touching on with what the scope of your work is, really. So we, and as a council, we made a declaration of, and signed it to say that when we're making decisions, we want it to be on good evidence and using expert advice. It's on the wall over there, actually, our statement of principle, how we will operate as a council for the next 4 years. So I think a lot of the stuff that you are able to bring to us would fall under those things, for sure. I think of our diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, racism as well, committee. We added racism to that moniker for that committee as well, as one. Our recreation committee, obviously, a lot of the stuff that's been talked about in the last year or so is around all those things about creating a healthy community. So I don't think I'd be going too far out on the limb to say that we're all in Westville with approaching, with trying to up our game as far as being a well community. Let's put it that way, for lack of a better term. And whatever we can do, I think we'll make ourselves available, and we'll certainly be calling upon you. And as you were presenting as well, not that I need anything to remind me of Megan, but our dear colleague Megan Bragg, who's never far from my mind. I know that if she were here, she'd be more than championing what you're talking about, as she was a player of yours, as you know. So a lot of the things that you talked about during the brief time that I knew Megan, and Megan was on this council, I heard her talk about many occasions and bring to the council. So it's good to have that ability to reach out to you folks when we need to for that advice. And I think, like I said, I don't think I'm going out on a limb to say that we'll do that. And we appreciate you coming tonight to make this presentation and remind us what's available to us. So anyone else? I'm sorry for monopolizing.
Okay.
No, I think
Well
you said
said.
it very well. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
well said.
Yeah,
All right,
agree.
so thank you very much. We appreciate it once again. So I know that on the agenda we had included the code of conduct policy. My suggestion is that we put that off until our council meeting next week. I think it'd be an appropriate matter to deal with at a council meeting as opposed to committee of the whole, perhaps. So if everybody's agreed, I'd suggest we do that. We'll move it to our regular, put it on the agenda for our regular council meeting next Monday. So with that, the next number of meetings next week, our regular council meeting on Monday, as I've just said, at 6 o'clock here in Chambers, also on YouTube, as well as the Board of Police Commissioners meeting on Tuesday of next week, 6 o'clock.
Tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're
I'm sorry.
already at the 20th, yeah.
Tomorrow. Time flies when you're having fun. Tomorrow, yes. I'm sorry about that. So yes, that's tomorrow night. So here in council chambers again. And with that, no further business. I declare the meeting adjourned.